folks, it's Stuart from the Courtyard Café kitchen again. Every day pretty much I bake wheaten bread in work, and it's something that the trainees do as well as part of the NVQ training. This is a new recipe, so we're both going on a bit of an adventure together. I want to try it with the possibility of using it in work when we get opened back up again. It's different in that it has black treacle and Guinness in wheaten, but I think it's worth a try. First ingredient is wholemeal flour, 500 grams, plain flour, 500 grams again, 80 grams of caster sugar, 120 grams of rolled oats or porridge oats. There's also then, this is bicarbonate of soda or baking soda, 2 teaspoons of that. That's the raising agent which will react with the buttermilk when the bread is mixed. And also 1 teaspoon of baking powder, which is in there as well. What I'm going to do is lightly mix the dry ingredients together before we add the liquids to the mixture, just to make sure everything's mixed together properly. Pull it off might actually be a bit easier because I'm going to work with some fairly difficult ingredients here. The first is 80 grams of softened margarine or butter. I'm using margarine because it works perfectly well in the recipe. One of the slightly more difficult ones, but it's interesting, is black treacle. What I've actually done, it's 180 grams of black treacle. I have put it into the microwave for about 20 seconds, and it makes a massive difference because out of the tin, it's virtually impossible to work with. It's very, very thick, very sticky, and that just makes all the difference in terms of getting it out. So that's the start of the wet ingredients going in. Next is the stuff, Guinness, 300 milliliters. And this glass is the important one because this is the cook's bonus. I'll pour it properly. Right, put the bowl into the mixer, put the beater on. I'm going to add the Guinness to the mixture. And then, as we start the mixing process, we'll add buttermilk. The recipe says 500 milliliters of buttermilk, but it does also say according to the consistency of the mixture. So I'll add a little bit, see how well it works. It's still quite dry. So I add the extra buttermilk and just keep an eye on the consistency of the dough. Hey, the beater out for the moment. The truth, I think that looks really good. You can certainly see the treacle colouring it. The effects of the treacle are definitely there too, and the stickiness and the smell is amazing. I think the dough looks really, really interesting, and I'm looking forward to getting it into the tins. Normally in Courtyard we make the wheaten in loaf tins for serving with soup and so on. We also started doing graze boxes, so I've greased a couple of muffin tins. I'll see what way the mixture goes in the loaf tins, and if there's a bit left over, I'll do some individual loaves as well to have them as a trial. As I expected, it's an incredibly sticky mixture. Probably enough to allow the loaves to rise. With the palette knife, we'll spread it just to make sure it's evenly into the tin and there aren't any air pockets left. And the same with the other loaf. Finishing touch with these is just some more porridge oats sprinkled over the top before they go into a 180 degree oven, probably for about 43 to 45 minutes. Again, being a new mix, we'll find out and just keep an eye on the timings. So to use up the rest of the wheaten mix, I'll make some individual little loaves. Right, again, because of the bicarb and the baking powder, these are going to rise as they bake in the oven. While you want the little tins to be well filled and the loaves to be a decent size, you don't want them spilling over to the sides everywhere. So that's those, and final touch again with those is just tap down, a bit of roll those porridge oats over the top, and we'll get those in the oven. Those are going to take less than the loaves, probably about 30 minutes or so. Put the bread in the oven, and I almost forgot something really, really important. The cook's treat, the rest of the Guinness. The two larger loaves are eventually ready. They took about 45, 46 minutes each. What I'm going to do is just run a palette knife around the edge to release it. Although you do rub some large around the inside of the tin before you put the dough in, sometimes it will stick a little bit. Okay, so number one. Number two. Hopefully the experiment will have been a success. I'll not know until they cool down a bit and I get to cut them and taste them. But certainly if smell-o-vision was available, the smell of the bread, the mixture cooking in the oven as it has been for the last 45 minutes or so has been something special.